Hello, welcome to the defense replays. I guess that's what I don't know. I feel like that's a bad intro. Anyways, oh, actually, before I do that, I don't know what to do with this banner. Well, I'm at the Spark, obviously, but I don't know who to get. I got a free. Well, it's not free. I got a copy of the majority of the units here. And then anyone that I pick up is basically for a merge, especially this Halloween Anna that I'm kind of leaning towards, but because I would appreciate the merge on her for resonance battles. The rest of these don't have the best father aside from this cancer control here, but I don't know if Mark is the best thing to pull for, since as a combat unit, he's not very good currently. So I'd really just be pulling for the cancer control, and I don't know if that's the best idea, but I really should spark someone from that banner. I just don't know who. There's also Brash Assault 4 fodder, which I was lacking for the longest time, so maybe I get another copy of Dual Shamir. I don't know, but let's look at what we got here. Okay, animations round. So this is the first match. Here's the... I thought this was Halloween. I thought this was attuned to Mara, but it's the wrong version. But here are the units. No seals, because seals are actually mad expensive if you're new at the game. They're very difficult to acquire, those sacred stones. But yeah, this is the team for defense. I really love Endless Tempest. I think it's a fantastic skill for most melee units, if not all of them, because it's a lull in your C skill and that frees up your B slot. And I think that's fantastic. So basically this is just to cover threat range. Hector here is a thick boy. He's just doing what he can for now, but I think I'm going to actually have to bench him since Sigurd is a thing now. And you'll see that a little bit later on. But Micaiah is here to stop Embla from doing Embla things. Basically Freyr for Dark Season. And then I have my double Embla support here because I didn't want anyone safe tanking, because I didn't have any other plans for dealing with
my costume.
What's her name? Fjorm. I didn't have any other plans for dealing with dual Fjorm during her bonus week, because I don't think I would have been able to win the speed check, and I didn't want to re-bless my Fregato because I don't have enough dark blessings to go around currently. So yeah, that'll stay over there. He'll stay over in Astra Anima for a bit. Until I get some more Dark Blessings to start throwing things around how I want to. But this was the other option. Just try to wall out the enemy. Or, well, it's not really a wall. Well, I guess Hector is kind of a wall. Based on the build that he currently has. So I guess you can look at it like that. But that's not really what's going on here. It's really to warp in and take out the opposing units before they can get to me. Or before they... Basically, if you can't break through Hector and Fjorm, you're going to have to tank it, and it's unlikely that most are going to be able to tank Felix and Celica, who, after like just going through this week's defenses, I gotta say, she's really... like, compared to when she first came out, she's kind of... like, even like a week after she came out, I was like, she's not the greatest in terms of damage output, but I feel like at this point now, Emblem Celica has really like hit the floor when it comes to damage output. I feel like we should start like looking at different builds to probably try to improve her damage output, but I really don't know what I would give her aside from swapping out her C skill for, let's say, like a feud or something. But she is just not putting out enough damage to take out a lot of units currently, which is kind of crazy to say because she's hitting like 70s and 50s, but then there's so much flat damage reduction everywhere that it's just not enough these days. And she is kind of hurting when it comes to range nuking, even though I still love the fact that she can just pass through whatever it is that's like in the way. I do think that makes her formidable as a an offensive nuke, or the offensive defensive nuke, however you want to look at it. I think she's really, really powerful. But the opponent here is not giving up. Maybe if I had Gale Force on Felix, I could have gotten somewhere out of it, but I don't think that's his best build. I definitely think you want to stick with Gust because of the amount of flat damage reduction that is available to him. from that special, or provided to him from that special. Yeah, they keep going. Hector here still being a wall. Fjorm is long gone because she decided to attack, and she's not tanking Alphonse. Yeah, no way that's happening, even with bonus stats. And this layout that I have here is, I think it's, well, not I think, it's what I was referring to in that other video, in the earlier video from today, where I was saying that it's probably better to just commit to going double Embla instead of doing one Embla and someone else, because you get so much more coverage. You get more coverage over the entirety of the map if you go double Embla. Otherwise, you might as well just bring a dancer or something, or Loki. But that's really if you have Emblas to put on defense. I had to go with Bridal Embla because I don't have an extra Embla, so it just didn't work out very well in my favor in that regards, because as it relates to lift lost, because I was losing a ton of lift because I had to run Bridal Embla. But still, she did her job, which was to shut down the lanes and to prevent units from getting support drive effects, especially from Sedith, who I was really targeting, and also Dual Fjorm, who I just didn't want to save. But as a unit herself, as you'll see throughout these Team Flints replays, she's still very, very good in terms of the Celica matchup. Just a sec here. Yeah, so back to what I was saying. So yeah, you can see here that a lot of people have been bringing those Brave units to the party. I think this is probably like one of the most popular Brave or CYLs that we've had in a while. I think this is one of the most popular CYL batches that we've had in a while. I think this is probably as popular as the what's that game again? Jeez, what is the name of that game? Edelgard? Fodolin? Oh, jeez. What is the name of that game? Three Houses. Yeah, I think this batch is as popular as the Three Houses Lords that we got a couple of years ago. And it's not that much of a surprise since a lot of the units are Three Houses units, plus Alphonse, who a lot of people have grown attached to or come around to because of, you know, his role in the story. I think that he does need a little bit more development in terms of just his overall progress from where he started to where he is now, but we'll see what they do. The recent story arcs have actually been pretty decent. They actually went in the correct direction with the story, which is what I was saying. I was like, why is this guy just like letting his kids get abducted and then not doing anything about it, since he's like a god? You know, it didn't make any sense story-wise for a god to be held ransom by a mortal. And then I feel like they did the correct thing in terms of plot progression. Not to like spoil anything, but they did exactly what they needed to do there, and I'm kind of happy with where it's headed. So yeah, let's see how that pans out. But yeah, Sharena now needs some development so that we can, you know, start liking her a bit more, because she does literally nothing aside from cheerlead. So I think it would be great to see what if they could potentially do something with her. I know that like for a lot of Japanese companies or writers, they don't write female characters very well, so I can understand why, you know, some of she's kind of bare bones at the moment. So I can definitely see it from that standpoint. But also, I feel like they kind of want to just let Alphonse be the main star, which is great and all, but it's two of them. They feel like a package. Let her do something. Give her like a whole story to herself. Just let her shine for a bit. I feel like she deserves it, you know? Just to show her off. She has value, I feel. But yeah, so far the defense has been putting in work. Also, it's a great way to let Ike not get any support. So a lot of these matchups are just Ike by himself, which I find to be fascinating because it really shows the power of Ike by himself as a unit currently in this meta, and I think he's actually really, really strong. this is a fantastic build on Gato. I definitely think you should lean towards this if you want to build your Gato, although the A skill is a little bit overboard because I think his A skill will get a pretty decent remix when it comes to that time. But everything else I think is pretty fantastic on him, and I think he should tank fairly well with that build. I definitely rematched this guy because of all of the plus 10s that he had, and I think this is the one that I lost with the Shez. But this was fantastic play. Here is this definitely what you want on your Tamara, speed defense unity, because it works on her very well, and then the odd speed wave to give her no follow-up. I did the same thing to mine. I just don't want to fodder the speed defense unity just yet from my I gave it to my Sita, so I do want to give it to Tamara, but I'm kind of holding off just for a little bit. I think that's her best A skill and C skill. The Breath of Life can definitely be outsourced, and also if she's not taking any damage, then there's no real need for Breath of Life 4 on her. Really, aside from like AoE stuff, or chip damage from whatever the case may be, Dual Leon, but he's kind of like absent at the moment. But this is the matchup between Tamara and this build that I have for Felix, which is currently the best build. It's just that I think it's his best current build, and this will just show you like how good Tamara is as a unit by herself, because she's getting like literally no support aside from the stone terrain, and then mythic buffs and stuff. And then also it shows how good speed defense unity is because she's getting debuffs from Micaiah, and Fjorm here is eating all of my Bright and Dark Shrines, but it doesn't matter since she has penalty neutralization. So she still outspeeds Celica here. I mean, plus, bonus stats, and also the fact that she's highly merged, so she was always going to win that speed matchup. But this here I find to be very interesting, because what's going to happen here is that a Sandstorm is going to hit Felix, and she literally just one-shot him, which does not happen without speed defense unity and the debuffs that she's getting from Micaiah. Typically what happens there is that Felix will have enough bulk from Excel and Gust to just survive the hit from Tamara, and she normally needs both hits to take out Felix in that situation, but because she was getting so much of a stat swing from the Unity, which I think is like, I can't wait for them to do Unity plus distant counter in an A skill. I think that's going to be the next best thing. Maybe you just get like one stat for Unity, but I definitely think that's going to be like really, really big for a lot of Omni tanks. But it really swung that matchup in her favor, because Sandstorm, I was like leaning towards thinking that like replacing Sandstorm on her for like Godlike Reflexes might be the best thing, since it would improve her matchup a ton against Felix. But giving her speed defense unity in a situation like this really works out in her favor, just because of how much damage she's able to output with that extra defensive swing. And you're seeing like plus 29, plus 33 defense from the Unity, and it really just works out for her so well. I just end up getting walled out here because Tamara is just like so good. She's really, really good if she can win the speed check. If she can outspeed, she typically does very well. And again, speed defense unity, that's why it's there. It allows her to also win those speed matchups as well. So from here, it's pretty much GG's. Hector is not going to win against Gato because he doesn't have the ability to counterattack, and he's just going to take too much damage. So that one's done. But that was pretty good. I really like to see that. I would like to probably do something similar with my Tamara, but I'm just not getting... I think I have her at +1 now, and I've spent so many orbs on that banner, and I keep getting Reagans. And that's like why I'm so bummed out about like what to do with my Regan, because I have no idea what her best build is, and I feel like if I go back in on that banner, I'm just gonna get more Regans, and I don't want any more of her. So this here is Celica failing to take out Micaiah, which she actually should win or can win this matchup. I think this was more of a properly supported Micaiah here with the stone terrain and everything. It just ended up not being the best matchup for Celica. She would have lost to Fjorm, so I guess Micaiah was her next best matchup. So that was just really good. What would I call this? Usage of space. They did exactly what they needed to do there to tank selectively, and that's really how you beat this type of setup. You pick your matchups, and as you can see, everyone's been blocking off the right-hand lane with their Omni tanks and then tanking Celica with someone else, and that's really how you're supposed to approach this map in specific. And it shows, or this is showing, how strong Ike is with the stone terrain, because that's really all of the support that he's getting. He's not getting anything else. Yeah, it just makes him so much stronger. With the flat damage reduction on special hit. We're just not able to do anything. And that's a lot of what has happened throughout my defensive replays this week whenever anyone has been tanking. It's really just showing the value of Woomera, but also Ike, I think, as an Omni tank. What else would I want to say here? I wasn't expecting this many players to be this smart in terms of just realizing what they needed to do in order to win here. Slightly underestimating the Ether 8's player base, I guess would be the best way to put it. Because this is pretty early on in the week, so I don't expect to be coming across players that are like this good so early, but yeah. A lot of really good players in Ether 8s. They looked at exactly what they needed to do and they actually were able to get it done. And also the value of having the space in your back row, because this is the type of situation where it's really easy for someone to get sniped. I was initially considering putting Legendary Shez on this team instead of Micaiah, but I found the warp, or guidance rather, that Micaiah provides to be a lot more valuable for the mobility of my save tanks. But I guess you could easily put like male Shez on this team just to have an extra initiator after Shez comes in, just to snipe something. But it's really dependent on what you want to do in the end. Again, more Alphons. Very popular. I think I'm probably like one of the few people that just doesn't know what to do with him or doesn't have a use for Alphons. For me, it really comes down to his lack of a guaranteed follow-up and the no counter disrupt, both of which are able to be remedied by like support options, but I don't want to run those support options. And overall, I just feel like Ike is better. I feel like Alphonse is like green Ike, and he can or will eventually be tankier, but I feel like currently Ike is just better and I'd rather run Ike. I'm probably going to end up benching Alphonse. And I also feel like even though he has 4 movement, I feel like Ike is a little bit more mobile because he's infantry, which is weird. That's such a weird thing to say, but that's just how I feel. I don't know. I'm probably wrong on that one. Attack speed mastery here is not the best A skill, but I mean, if you got it, it's what you got. Because she has Canto in her weapon. If I'm not mistaken, I think she does have Canto in her weapon because she gives it as a drive. Gale Force all over the place. I think that's definitely where you want to be going with Asker's build these days. And this is very good in terms of an idea. I really like this C skill on Ike here. Endless Tempest on Ike gives him the extra mobility, as well as gives him a lull, so he's taking less damage. I think it's just really good overall on Ike. Not better than Creation Pulse, which you will see later on, but I definitely think it's one of his better builds. So yeah, breaking that structure actually turns out to work against them. Because otherwise, Felix usually doesn't reach that spot. The only thing that, like for my defense or for this defense, that's I think that could have possibly been changed for this specific build is I could have given Felix the Celica ring currently it's on Micaiah because I want there to be a little bit more threat from Micaiah. But I had to lock Micaiah because I wanted everyone to warp around her. So it kind of, this didn't exactly work out in my best interest. But I don't know. It was just a decision that I made, and I think I might have, like, going back, I might have changed it and given it to Felix instead, just so that he could get the extra movement or the warp capability, so that he could avoid getting locked into fighting Omni-Tank, which is what happened quite a bit, as you've seen so far in the replay so far, where he got stuck fighting Tamara, or whether or not he got stuck fighting Ike. So, yeah. This is the best Ike that I've seen all week on defense. I think the Creation Pulse, coupled with Attack Defense Excel, I think that's... I feel like the Excel skill is probably like... I don't know, I want to say that's best in slot for him, because it stacks on so much extra defense and flat damage reduction onto Ike. A lot of the support here he's not getting, aside from what Lumera provides. So this is what you're about to see here is, I think, is as strong as Ike can be currently in just Ether raids in general in the meta. I think this is the peak that you're going to be getting out of Ike, and that's what you're about to see here. I don't know if I were to give Felix Hardy Bearing, I don't think he would do any damage to this Ike anyways. I really don't think Felix would actually harm this Ike, this build.
I'll touch you down.
Because 3 would have been like, what, maybe 10?
This one's mine.
So that's, what, 10, 15 damage, 25, and then literally no one else here is hurting Ike. I think even if we had Hush Spectrum, it really wouldn't have mattered. This is just how strong Ike can be currently.
This one's mine. If
you have the fodder to spear, and if you have the orbs to spear to merge him up to plus 10. But very powerful Ike here is what you're seeing. I think if I had some way to overwrite the terrain, maybe it would have helped me out a bit more, because he is getting a lot of damage reduction, extra defense and stuff from the terrain. But I don't, so... oh well. And as I said, no Hush Spectrum or anything like that, so we're just eating the Great Ethers to the face. It is what it is. And from there, that's pretty much it. Ike solos from here. There's really not much else that I can do. He's just going to take out everyone else. Getting to the end here, I'm actually tired. So much talking. This is probably something similar to what I might run in Astra with Sigurd. What you're about to see here is Sigurd just absolutely obliterates Hector here, which is kind of unfortunate. I'm gonna have to bench my Hector. As much as I loved to, or as much as I have enjoyed bringing him back into the meta, I'm actually gonna have to bench him, because Sigurd is doing a little bit too much here with the AoE damage, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna be seeing a lot of Sigurd moving forward, because he's a really good, I don't want to say Gale Force unit, more of a hit and run unit. He's a very good hit and run unit, and he does too much to my Hector. Yeah, and Hector just isn't able to heal because of the damage comparison, the defense comparison with Breath of Life. Here's the AoE again, and Hector is already out of his weapon range, so he really just can't compete. Still pretty close, because it's just 10, but it's 2 hits, and he definitely would have died. So, yeah. Gonna have to figure out something else. Hector is kinda not it right now. I don't know, maybe I bring in Gatry, or maybe I stick Hector on offense, since maybe I swap Hector and Gatry, because I currently have Gatry on offense, So I might put Gatry on defense and put Hector on offense. Because I can get more stats that way. Yeah, I might do that. But also I don't have... I think maybe if I had that A skill to increase Hector's defenses, fortifications, I think that might actually work out better for me. But I don't have any Spear Alphonses. I'm really considering foddering my only Alphonse just so that I can chain fortifications like on one of my fodder banks. I'm really close to doing that actually. Because I have no use for Alphonse. But I mean, aside from what they did up until taking out Hector, I don't think, because you normally would need the pots in this scenario, so since it's the last day of the week for them, it didn't matter, but you really would have wanted to get both pots there normally. But GG's, I think that was a pretty good clear, all things considering. Yeah, and they still got one pot, so one pot is probably enough. Yeah, this is the last one. And this one is going to be Felix again doing his job, which I think he's, like, on defense, he's really, really good. I think you can probably substitute him with Sigurd, but his ability to stop and then go again, I think that is like, you can't replace that. There's no other unit that does that in the game currently. Sigurd gets an extra action, but the stop and then, you know, reposition for, like, I don't mean, okay, recalculate his approach. The fact that he can move and then, like, decide if he wants to go left or right, I think that is really, really valuable. I don't think they're going to give that out until maybe next year to any other units. And whoever, you know, gets that effect is also going to be absolutely busted. So yeah, Felix doing his job there. And one was enough just to get the win here. So that's pretty much it for the defenses for this week. I think it did fairly well. Way better than it would have done if I had to run Sothis. So, I mean, that much... or maybe I probably would have had similar outcomes in terms of lift lost. So, you know, there's that. 40 versus 170. I think would have lost more matches, definitely, if I had to run Sothis. These are the units that are bonus next week. Not looking forward to using Reagan, but it is what it is. We'll see what we can get out of her. GG's.